to Dalia's Politically Incorrect Show with the Poly Tips of the Week. Hi, everybody. I'm Dalia Urman here with TLA Radio, Politically Incorrect, and I have a great guest today, Daniela Bloom. We have a lot to talk about. Before starting with our very important subjects, please tell the audience a little bit about your background and yourself and your show.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you for having me on, Dalia.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hi, Tel Aviv audience. We love how big and growing the Israeli community is here. So I'm half Israeli, half American. My background is I'm a psychotherapist. I've been recently recognized as America's Relationship Authority. And ever since I came out as a conservative, I was a former liberal, my career has kind of pivoted. And what I'm here to talk to Dalia about a few things, but the number one thing is when you mess with our kids and you mess with Israel, you've gotten our attention and it's not enough to be uncomfortable. We have to act.
Yes.
And right now there is a serious situation with a motion to put a pro-BDS bill through the LAUSD school system. LAUSD is the Los Angeles Unified School System. It's the second largest school system in the country. And whether or not you have children in LAUSD, us as a Jewish and Israeli community need to stand together to act. It's not enough to be uncomfortable. And what I want to share with your audience today is a very easy action steps that take 5 seconds that make a 500% impact on what our initiative is.
That's fantastic. So is it signing petitions?
Yes. The first thing is it's more than a petition. It's so much better. It's so much better. It's not
so tell us about it.
So it's not like a change.org petition where you're just signing your signature. I've been working closely with Dylan Holzier from ICANN. I'm also working with IAC and Stand With Us. We really need everyone on board here. A lot of parents like myself have taken their time and energy to focus on this because we really want to see change. So a lot of the momentum is actually coming from grassroots with other parents like myself who are just taking the initiative to spread the word of what I'm about to tell you now. And you too can commit to sharing this URL that I'm going to send you. It's called, and maybe we can also put it on the link of the description.
Yes, you needed to send it to us.
Yeah. Oh, we
can get it on in a minute. Yes.
So it's called stopcampushate.org.
I'll put it on afterwards.
Okay.
I'll attach it to the...
Perfect. So it's just, they can just click on it right from the description. But those of you who want to know it, stopcampushate.org/UTLA. And how you fill out this form that takes 5 seconds. Again, you don't need to be in Los Angeles. You don't need to be a student. You don't need to be Jewish. It doesn't matter who you are. You can just sign it. As soon as you click submit, 8 customized letters are generated into every single board member's, union member's inbox. So far, they've received over 1,000. Can you imagine how annoyed they are? Let's keep annoying them.
Yeah, so 1,000 is fantastic, but let's just try to aim at 100,000.
We're trying to aim for, if we can make the goal of 10,000 by August, the reason we have a strategy behind this, LAUSD has a board meeting, and we have a few terms we want them to rule on. We want to halt this motion through the teachers' unions. We also want them to come out with a specific resolution on anti-Semitism, defining it and their commitment to ensure that it's not on their campuses, because every single student has a right to feel safe and comfortable at school, including Jewish students and Israeli students.
Absolutely. So you've touched on a couple of things here that I want to ask you about. First of all, how is it even legal that they can attach such a notion to something that has nothing to do with teaching, school, and things like that? How did this even come about? Let's start with the grassroots, like you said. Where does this come from? I mean, I know it's anti-Semitism and all of that, but how are they able, as a teachers union, to do this, to move this far along without being stopped already?
Absolutely. It's a very logical question. A teachers union should be focused on the teachers and students. So how is a public union able to get themselves involved in foreign policy and affairs, something of which they know nothing about. So
foreign policies. Let's just clarify that for one more minute. Foreign policies has nothing to do with going to school in the United States.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of many examples that we're seeing.
Right.
I mean, we see it across the nation for the last year of corporations, kowtowing to the woke and getting involved in things that they were never involved with before.
Absolutely.
But like I said earlier, once you mess with my kids in Israel, now I'm involved.
Well, everybody really should be. But okay, go on. Because today it's us and tomorrow it's somebody else. And it lingers on and it goes on. And there's no stop to it.
Exactly.
So, and the fact that actually today when people are more sensitive to minority groups, it's okay. It seems to be okay to not be sensitive to Jewish people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It seems to be the normal. Okay, sorry. Go on.
Unfortunately, what the far left and the far right will forever have in common is anti-Semitism. And that is why we see silence, especially
extreme silence,
especially
scary.
From our own liberal Jewish community.
Complete silence.
Leaders of the synagogues, of universities, they are reluctant to speak up. And that is a shame. So going back to what you're saying before, I also asked the same question.
Yes.
Why are unions having the power and wherewithal to get involved? And what I found out in speaking to teachers who were involved in the unions, because the unions could care less about the public opinion. They only answer to union members who pay their union dues.
Correct.
So they don't care what they're doing. The LAUSD is a public entity with public board members that answers to the public. The unions are a little bit different. So all it takes really is 8 to 10 woke teachers who got their liberal education on critical race theory, who want to create a motion and make this part of their agenda into a younger school system. It only takes a handful of teachers to create a motion. Unfortunately, not many teachers even vote in the unions. We have, I think, 33,000 teachers in LAUSD. Only 12% actively vote. So the people who are elected as the presidents and the peoples in charge are usually people who tend to be on the fringe, are not very
evolved.
I'm trying to find the piece of to say high functioning.
Right.
But we are on politically incorrect.
Yes, we are on politically incorrect.
What I understand is, most teachers really, they're so busy with their own teaching and their own families, and they really they care about the quality of their lives. And the teachers unions is just so time consuming and really has no real impact on the classroom. So they don't even bother. The people who bother are the people who tend to be on the left with very fringe agendas and can sweep things under the rug. So we have to pay attention to this. We've already seen it pass in San Francisco.
I was just going to say that I read about it.
Yeah.
And also that there was a vote this morning with them as well for something. Do you know what that was?
I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, I read something this morning.
Yeah.
So there's two things here.
Yeah.
One, that it's scary because, and not that I want to parallel, I always say I don't want to, but I continue doing so. These are things that somewhat happened in the 1930s. Maybe it wasn't the union, but it was anti-Semitism growing into schools, into the regular secular people, and becoming normal.
Yes.
Second thing that I wanted to touch on that you mentioned, that you're trying to add to this, I thought President Trump implemented that it wasn't allowed to have anti-Semitism on schools. And he even placed, I know, someone in charge of that. So is that gone now with the new?
So from my understanding, Trump did pass an executive order.
Correct.
He made a stretch to include that it wasn't just Jews being protected for their religion, but also it may include their origin, which is a big deal for Israelis and Jews, because Israeli Americans must be treated like any other immigration community who have civil rights protected that fall under the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Yes.
So this is a big deal. And if we can prove within the union's bylaws, or we can prove that an Israeli American teacher feels uncomfortable and discriminated against, we've made our case.
Absolutely. But it's not really just the Israelis. It's the Jewish community in general as well.
It is. But if we really want to focus on action for protection, we've got to follow that. And we have a lot of clout, because when you say Jewish, then it becomes, it's about the religion.
Okay.
This is also to include Israeli Americans as their national origin rights, as an ethnic group, as a community that has come here.
Okay.
So with that language, we have more of a case.
Okay.
But absolutely, anti-Zionism, we know is anti-Semitism. Of course it connects.
Right. That's just the new way of saying it. The new, So what are students feeling now? What is your opinion that they're feeling? I mean, I know it's summer vacation, but now they're going to go back to school.
Yes.
And as it is, anti-Semitism is on the rise.
Yes.
And especially in school campuses and colleges. And what's going to happen with this vote? When is this vote coming in?
Well, it's a motion. I don't think there's an actual date where it must be voted on.
Okay.
But we're not waiting for that.
That's you can't wait.
We are trying to create momentum, a huge inbox campaign. So LAUSD can't ignore this.
Okay.
I mean, they do not want bad PR that their unions have broken a Civil Rights Act of 1964.
As long as you're wording it that way, that might work.
We have to follow the pages of the woke. The woke are very successful because they focus on advocacy and they're very loud. They're not polite. They're not non-confrontational. Right. And we need to take a page from that.
Yes.
This now is hitting too close to home. I mean, a few weeks ago, I think you saw, Dalia, there were 2 buses driving along in Woodland Hills in the Valley, 2 school buses. They were chartered. Yes. It was not from LAUSD, but nevertheless, they were school buses.
Yes.
They had 2 huge Free Palestine flags on the front.
I saw that.
And the graffiti said, anti-Zionism is not anti-Judaism, but for us paying attention, the JUDE was overly enlarged because it's similar to how they wrote Jude in Europe, right?
Yes.
So we know, right? But they can't be docked as a hate crime because they're saying it's not anti-Semitism.
So they're slapping you and giving you a hug at the same time.
They are just going under the radar. They're passing the message without being able to get docked for it.
So what's happening here is they're very organized.
They're organized. I mean, you sent me footage of the rally the protest in the Grove.
Yes, I did. And I also, yesterday, I think it happened the day before yesterday, but yesterday I saw it. A friend of mine, somebody I know, went to drop off his children at the school bus, 3 kids. And there was a man there. I'll send it to you after the show, and maybe we can post it here. There was a man there screaming, "You Jews need to leave." I don't even want to repeat what he was screaming. And all the children had to see it, and it went on and on. Yes, because the kids had yarmulkes on.
Yeah,
it was a Jewish school.
Yes, and it is a very scary time when you have Democrats tweeting out, "Well, if you're scared, take off your yarmulke." But they would not say that to someone with a hijab.
No.
Or
quite the contrary.
Yes.
Quite the contrary.
Quite the contrary. So, I was just in Vegas and I saw huge Orthodox families, circus. Everyone had kippahs, and I just came up to them. I said, "You keep your kippahs. You keep your Magen David. Am Yisrael Chai.
Well,
don't take it off."
Absolutely, and the difference is now is we cannot be scared, and we always say never again, but never again is now.
Yes,
and people need to be vigilant. And
literally, the writing is on the wall. It's on the school bus. It's on, and going back to what you were saying with Nazi Germany. Critical race theory, a version of it, was taught in schools right before Hitler took over.
Yes.
The basis of critical race theory is extremely Marxist. It's all about the oppressor.
Absolutely.
It's not about celebration or diversity or let's appreciate each other's journeys and differences. There is a clear agenda to it. And it deconstructs the whole country. It's a deconstructing of institutions. And, when you have a conversation with a liberal about it, they're like, well, show me the exact line. What part of the syllabus is wrong that offends you? And I use the analogy all the time. Like, what I hear you say when you ask me that is, you want me to be so specific on this dining room chair and the Titanic living room. In the meantime, there's an iceberg and the whole ship's sinking.
Yes.
Like, let's pull back the lens here. And
that's a good analogy.
Yes, I use it.
I like that.
I use it all the time.
Yeah.
I try to engage, as a psychotherapist, I am known as the bridge, as the unifier. I work with men and women all the time through divorce. I learned very quickly that the family court system is not about the family. And if you can get out of the court system and mediate on your own. So there's a lot of parallels. And, what I have found is that it just takes one high conflict personality, one empowered victimhood personality to end up in the court system. So often the party who is more willing to mediate, more willing to compromise, more willing to sit down and be amicable is the one who gets hurt the most in family court, because family court, it's set up as a win-lose. And when and attorneys, they don't have an incentive to do a quicker settlement because their paycheck ends.
Right.
Everything has an agenda and a business, and the same parallels we can see in our headlines. Negotiating with Palestinians, it's not about land. We know it's not about land. It's not about land. From the river to the sea, Palestine should be free. We know with the people who support BLM and shout anti-racism, it's not about reparations.
No.
There's no money in the world that's going to make them say, now that I got the amount that I was hoping for, I'm no longer angry. I can live an empowered life and be an asset to society. I can focus my energy where it now should go. It's not going to happen.
It's not.
It's not going to happen.
It's not about that. No.
Yeah. So one of the core principles that I found as a former liberal, I didn't realize how conservative I was. Working as a psychotherapist, one of the core beliefs we have to empower our clients is personal responsibility.
Of course, that's number one. For anybody.
For anybody. But unfortunately, we don't see that trending today. It's all about how do we fix the system? How do we show white people how white and privileged they are?
I'm shocked with that, by the way. Is that not racism? You just touched on something perfect. That is racism.
You can't combat racism with more racism.
Exactly.
It doesn't work.
That is racism. And having the, and I'm going to just say it because it bothers me every year when it comes on TV. Instead of the Academy Awards, there's the Black Awards. I don't really know the name. Sorry. Not good with names.
BET Awards.
That's not racism. If we had a white award, that would be extreme racism.
The answer that I get with that is, well, there was a time that we couldn't watch television or we couldn't participate in this. But again, that was long time ago. And sometimes, the only thing constant in life is change. And when you don't allow change, when you keep saying things are just as bad, or we're just as racist, or we haven't made any progress, it doesn't help you. It doesn't, and it's a turn off. When you just automatically say, you know what, you're white, you'll never understand. You don't know what we've been through. Like, what have you been through? You weren't a slave.
Right.
And also, I don't identify as white. My father came from North African descent. And my mother, her family was from the Holocaust, wasn't white enough. And that's why we were slaughtered. So I'm not white.
That's good. And I always say that we were slaves as well in Egypt.
And there's still slavery going on in Africa.
Absolutely. Nobody cares about that.
Nobody cares about
Nobody cares because it's not part of the agenda.
Also, what I'm finding that nobody cares about is that the biggest miskana group in our country is the Black woman. The domestic violence, she has the weakest voice of all. And we're so distracted by racist. This is racist. That's racist. This is racist. They're the ones suffering.
Yes.
No one's hearing their voices. Charity begins at home. Responsibility begins at home.
Well, you just said that was a minute ago. What you just said, personal responsibility for everything.
Fatherless homes have an impact.
Absolutely.
Lack of priority in education is going to have an impact. So when they say, oh, yes, we should talk about gun control, it's not a gun control problem.
No, I've always said that.
Check the lyrics that your kids are hearing. Check what cultural, who are their role models.
Correct.
So it's so important to take responsibility. And
Yes.
I feel that's so lacking with the liberal Black community and the Palestinian community. Not all, because I have one of the best things that happened to me this year is I've developed such true and dear, genuinely close friendships with Black freethinkers like myself. And
there's
we can
plenty.
talk about this. Oh my God.
Oh, there's plenty. But the people are people. It doesn't matter the color.
I feel the real unsung heroes today are the Black conservatives.
Right.
Because the amount of hate that they get from their community, just like the amount of hate as Jews, no one has been more nasty to me than the liberal Jew.
It's awful. By the way, it's awful. And they're quiet right now.
Yeah.
Their quietness scares me because I've spoken to them before the elections. And a lot of them have told me, oh, we live in America, America first. It can never happen here. You're exaggerating. It's not that type of thing.
Very naive.
It's beyond naive because at some point it's your life, it's your livelihood, it's your children, it's your grandkids. It's feeling comfortable to go out. What are you going to do? It's so many things. It's your daily life. Going to temple for a holiday or going to a bar mitzvah or going to an Israeli concert. So it's everything. It's not one thing. And now they're quiet. And what scares me even more, it hasn't even been a year yet that we have a new president and things have drastically changed 180 degrees. And it's clear and you can see it. And it's okay to be anti-Semite or act that way to students at school or what's happening now on the school boards and the unions. It became okay and they're quiet. They cannot ever say we made a mistake or we didn't think it would go this way or, you know.
It's called cognitive dissonance. And when you are systemically brainwashed to a point that when you are given irrefutable evidence, it is actually painful for your brain to shift. It's literally a sensation of pain.
Okay.
It's too much for them. I mean, look at what we're dealing with now in California. The mask mandate has been lifted. So I'm arrived at the market with my kids and like, kids, no masks.
Yes.
And everyone is looking at us with their masks like we're aliens.
I walk without my mask.
No, but the fact that the damage has been done, it doesn't matter that there's no science. People are going to wear the masks outdoors jogging. Why? There's no one around them. They're going to wear the mask indoors
in their car
with the window up.
Yeah.
So we see how now there's no more science and logic. It's just what they've been conditioned to do. I mean, literally, Army Horowitz from the Daily Wire from Ben Shapiro had a whole video asking people why you're outside. You're fully vaxxed.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing masks?
I have no idea. Right.
So the answers are going to drive us crazy as free thinkers. You know, well, when everyone takes it off, I'll take it off. Or it's more of a comfort level for me now. Or I want to set a good example. Yeah. So it's a crutch. So facts don't matter now, right? They're all about the science. But now it's a virtue signal. One girl even said, if I take my mask off, people might think I'm Republican. So, I mean,
really?
Yes.
I haven't heard that, but I've heard many crazy things, but that's a new one for me. That's really crazy. So I know Republicans that are very extreme, and I know
there's extremists everywhere. There's bad apples everywhere.
Yes.
I like to talk to the moderate of the country. I feel that our voices have been so minimized. We've had to choose sides this year.
It's really awful.
It's awful.
Okay.
And you know what? We see in the media, the media does not choose stories of unity or bipartisan stuff or when things have come together and we've shared the same vision, because those stories are not as clickbait, right? I
could tell you straight firsthand, President Trump was in Beverly Hills and gave a little, charity event at someone's house one evening. It was a Friday night, I remember. And my brother and I and the kids walked up the street because we knew how he'd be driving out and we wanted to wave. And when we walked up the street, to our surprise, there was hundreds of Trump supporters. They came from the airport following him, and they were standing there with flags and Trump flags, Hispanics for Trump, all kinds of people. There was literally a handful of people across the street. You know what? Let me not exaggerate. 12 people across the street that were anti-Trump. And all the news media came out. And I firsthand saw all they did was photograph them. They never showed our side.
No.
And they made it seem like people were against him being there.
I went every single Saturday to the Beverly Hills rally. I
know that they were happening,
if not thousands. Every diversity, Black, Asian, Latino, LGBT, you name it. We all brought our different flags. There was Israeli flags. There were flags from every walk of life. And no coverage. No coverage.
Oh, no, they're not going to cover something like that. It's not to their benefit. No. It's not popular.
No, and the Million Mega March that happened in December, 1 month before the January 6th, there was literally 1 million people there from every state, every country to support Trump. Not one issue of violence. You know when the violence happened? After hours with Antifa.
I remember that.
Our media covered it. It was never covered in mainstream media. So, and then even now, the way they're trying to market and sell January 6th as a blood dot in our history.
Yes.
And we need a commission and we need to examine and we all need to like pay attention. I'm like, well, let's do the same for the summer riots that actually caused $2 billion of damage, actually ended up in dozens of deaths, actually destroyed businesses and lives.
Businesses, homes.
Yes. And you have people like Kamala Harris who were encouraging people to donate to get people out of bailout, get their bailout so they can be free. So can I see that much attention for that too? And I think one of the biggest turnoffs for a lot of people who are waking up is the complete double standard. And
the people don't care.
It's
scary. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's gaslighting.
Right.
It's double standards. It's if only you would change. It's the same reasons why our relationships are falling apart today is why our country is falling apart today. It's the same themes.
Right.
It's the same themes. And so when I work with clients to get them back on track to their full potential in love and life, many of them are coming out of these toxic relationships. Many of them are ready to date high quality. Many of them are coming out of divorce. What do you do? So I tell them, as a recovering codependent, you have to strengthen your boundaries. You have to identify your own needs, because your needs are just as valid as their needs. Their needs are not the most important. You have needs too.
Of course. Well, you come number one.
When you're coming from a toxic relationship, you've been so wired to fix and rescue the other. You don't even know what your needs are. Like what does make me happy? What do I want from my life? Literally, people have to sit down and get to know themselves again.
Yeah.
So we work on that, and we work on, the ability to say no and what a healthy boundary is. And these are the muscles that we need to do as a country. We cannot kowtow to the woke just because they have the loudest microphone. We have to set our boundaries. This is what Israel's doing now.
Yeah. But they're a small country. It's a little bit different.
Well, but here they still have the same pressure.
I understand.
From the media.
Yes.
It's so disproportionate. Never mind what Syria and Lebanon and all these other countries are doing when it comes to human rights. But Israel, the free democratic country that's the size of Delaware, the most offensive.
Yeah.
It's backwards.
But the scary part is that the people are quiet, that the media won't show that side. And you know what? When I was going to vote, my son was like, nobody should know who you're voting for. Stop talking about it. We're in the United States of America. If you want to keep it to yourself, you have the right. And if you want to share that information with someone, you have the right. You shouldn't be scared. And right now, that's what happened. And it seems to be okay. What would you suggest, more than the 10,000 people that you're looking for signatures? And I understand that's a start. I would really hope it would be more. I mean, everybody knows a student Everybody knows.
Yes. And but again, I want to emphasize, you do not need to be in LA County. You don't even need to be a student. Anybody can fill this out. So if we can get everyone to commit to fill out this link, send it to at least 5 people they know. It's so easy to do because everyone's a part of either synagogue or a WhatsApp group or something. It really does take 5 seconds.
And it really doesn't make a huge difference. It really
does. And we really can do this. I mean, if they can do it, why can't we do it?
I honestly feel that this is much more important than a rally.
Yes.
It is. Yes. I mean, a rally is great, but we're not even, it's not even on the news. Really, nothing happens from it.
And you know what? Even if you get press, which we've gone, I've been on the John and Ken show. We've gotten some press with Fox News. It's 30 seconds. It's fleeting. Who's really tuning in at that moment?
Right.
We really need to rely on our community to actually do the steps. And Dylan had said, we'll contact the press when we win. We'll contact the press when we're able to say, we came together, we halted this, we did it.
Yeah.
Don't mess with us. That's when we contact the media.
Yes.
So, but we're doing it all. The reason why the rally is good is because it's an opportunity for media to come and to hear people speak. And media like to be invited to events that they just can show up at. They can get all their sound bites, they can get all their footage, and they can share it out. And if we can get Noah Tishby, if we can get Bill Maher, if we can get
would be amazing.
Alliance
Noah's
from
phenomenal.
they both are, and they both care very much about these issues. Bill Maher is a very outspoken liberal, but when it comes to Israel and when it comes to critical race theory, he gets it. Absolutely, he gets it. And Noah wrote an amazing book on Israel. Yes, you know, I want her platform to grow. I mean, shout out to Adam Sandler, Efoeta. We're waiting for you. Any other big celebrities need to come out, but really, it's not about even convincing Hollywood we need to act. And if you think your voice doesn't count, you think your click doesn't count, it does. You don't need to be a big name to make a difference. And that's really the point that I want to hone in on, you know?
So when they go online and do this, are you sure that that's accurate? Because I've been told at different meetings that a lot of these petitions actually have to be signed in person and not necessarily online.
This is not a petition.
Okay.
It's not a recall.
Okay.
It's a special link created that will generate customized letters to email inboxes.
Okay.
So it's a wonderful strategy.
Okay.
It's a wonderful strategy because it can't be ignored, and it makes our case even stronger when we go to the LAUSD board in August.
Yes. Yeah. And very important.
Yes. And again, we would love to be in sync with all the other amazing Jewish organizations we have, but we also can't wait. So we're doing it all. We're doing this now, and God willing, our message will only be amplified by these organizations.
So if you're going to have a rally, when do you think that will take place?
Everyone's in the summer mode now, so it's going to be in August. Everyone returns to school mid-August, so they have 4 dates in August. We're probably going to choose a date around mid-August, when everyone's back in town, everyone's focused on school. It just makes the most sense. And we want to also incorporate ethnic studies, critical race theory, because this is a passionate issue by many Americans, Asian community, Latin community, many communities, even African Americans. There's so many people who are offended by critical race theory and don't feel oppressed and don't want their children to be taught that they are limited, that they do not have that something has been taken away. They don't have free agency over how they want their life to go. That's a horrible thing to educate someone on. That no matter what you do, you're going to be limited. This is America. Right.
First of all, this is America. Second of all, you're not limited to anything. So each person is individualized.
Yes.
After all, we did have a president that was Black, and he achieved, correct. That is correct. Achieved to be president twice. We have Oprah Winfrey, who was the top woman, Black person on TV, top paid. Ben Carson. I mean, I can go on and on and on.
But then you have someone like LeBron James, no matter how many billions he's made in the NBC, he says stupid comments like, we all feel hunted. We're all hunted by the police. So that's just it. You know, if we don't stop critical race theory, it will destroy our country. No doubt.
It already is doing it.
Because we see the consequences of defunding the police, Crime has never been higher in New York and Minnesota.
I just came back from New York, and it's frightening to see the streets.
I have
scary.
No desire to go.
So I was told not to go into Times Square, and I always go to Times Square. Not that it's the nicest thing, but it's just fun.
When Giuliani was there, he turned it around. It was blooming.
I was there.
And now, who wants to walk in New York?
Well, I was told by somebody that works in Times Square and has worked there for over 22 years that he is frightened, and it's a man, to go into work. He goes through the back way so that he's not on front streets. And I decided anyways, I want to take a day trip to the city. So I said, okay, I won't go into Times Square. So we went to Soho, which used to be so beautiful. And it's frightening to see.
What makes it so frightening?
First of all, the amount of homelessness on the streets, naked people. They're walking around naked. The police don't do anything. They don't come. They don't do anything.
You see, this is
the drugs, naked, peeing on the floor, etc. Not even clothed, like stark naked. So we got there and we were shocked. I heard that the crime has gone up a lot there. A lot of stores have shut down. It's just not what you remember it to be. No. It's just not. And it's scary.
I know that
it's sad.
I forgot what his name is. Is it Adam Lewis? I hope I'm not saying, or Adam Roberts. I think it's Adam Roberts. He is the front runner right now for the mayor, and apparently he's very much about refunding the police. He's a moderate candidate. They're going through the primaries now, but it might take a few weeks to actually have a conclusion of who's won. But it looks promising that it will be this candidate who is hoping to get New York back on track. There's a reason why he was voted in.
Listen, let's hope that, but the police at this point are so scared.
Yeah. And many of them retired.
Yes.
Let's, would you want to be a police officer today?
No.
I mean, I feel so bad for them.
And we need police. We need law and order.
Listen, there's for sure crooked police, just like there's crooked doctors, crooked teachers.
And in every aspect of life.
The majority of the police officers who have taken a conscious choice to defend us and be there and protect us and make sure the law is enforced. And on top of this, they can't even do their job because they will be targeted.
Yeah.
How can you even do your job? It's not enough that they've devoted their lives to us as a community. How do you even do your job? It's terrifying. And we absolutely back the blue and support the blue. And
of course. And I think that everybody should, but it's also became normal to not.
Yes.
It used to be normal that your child on Halloween wants to be a police officer.
My son was a cop.
Not
this year.
And then this year it's scary. Yeah. So it's the new normal is actually sad and scary.
Yeah.
So tell us something fun now. Let's go to something fun and different for a few minutes here.
Sure.
About your dating and all this matchmaking.
It's so funny because people are like, when are you going to do another event? Everything's opening up. We need to find love again. And you know what? I hear you guys, and I think I will do something about it because before COVID, we had some beautiful events. There's a niche in Los Angeles that I don't feel is underserved. So you have the Jewish singles in 20s to 35. There's plenty of programs for them, but there's not a lot of programming for 35 to 50.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are divorced. A lot of people have been focusing on their careers, and they're actually a lot more mature and ready for a serious relationship. Correct. And they do not have as much opportunities as the younger crowd. So I created a side niche to my brand, Dating with Daniela. And, I work a lot with law of attraction. And when you understand, for example, online dating is just a tool to help you show up more fully. So you're attracting a much more balanced complement to you, because if you are still operating from a low vibration, from a low level, you're going to attract that back. And working with people with their online profile really helps ground that in, because I love to see people's profiles before I work with them, because I can understand where their sabotage is. And, it's amazing, well-intended, educated people, the kinds of mistakes they make on their profile, and then they don't understand why they're
Give an example.
Lousy people. I'm happy to. It's my favorite thing. So this is exactly what I do with clients. So
okay.
It's very easy. It's no brainer at this point, but so many people miss it. The first picture, because you only get one swipe to make a first impression, okay?
Absolutely.
So the first picture, people, must be looking straight at the camera and smiling with good lighting. Is it so hard? It's very hard.
Seems to be very hard.
Seems to be very hard.
Dogs, cats, their heads are under cars,
other girls, other boys, alcohol. The list goes on.
That's really funny. That's a great tip for people because I don't think that many think about it.
But let me tell you why. If someone is intuitively choosing that picture first, basically they've done the energetic work, they've done the internal work. They want to show the world what you see is what you get.
Yes.
Hineni, here I am. This is who I am. I'm confident. I'm grounded. I'm balanced. That is a good candidate. People who choose other pictures, like where they're not looking straight at the camera, they're with sunglasses, they're looking away. The subconscious message I see in that is they're guarded, they're fearful, they are not so open to get to know. And so it's not going to be as easy to connect with them, right? So it's messages to me with where the work is. You know, also the other thing I want to say, this is like the biggest PSA, men, we don't want to see you 5 pictures at the gym, please. What we want to see, and I'm telling you, it'll get much classier, girls. Put on a suit, button-down shirt, a collared shirt. This is what speaks to us because it implies that you have a job. You're educated.
Basic.
Yes. But the thing is, men treat the profile the way they would want to see a woman's profile. Like they would definitely want to see a woman 5 pictures at the gym.
Right.
Because men are visual.
Yes.
And they want to see the curves. They want to see that she's shapely, and if they want to have kids, that she's a candidate for kids. So men and women respond to different things in a profile. And when you understand that, when you can use that psychology to your advantage, you've already upped your chances. It's the same that applies to anything in life. When you want to go further in your career, you're going to study the company. You're going to see what the company wants. You're going to make sure you're the candidate that fits what the company is looking for, and vice versa, because the company wants you just as you want them. So you just have to understand how you put each other's strengths first. So I love
that. We can do a full show on that one day.
Yeah, if you have guests who want to come on and bring their
there is a show like that. We're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that after.
Yes.
We're running out of time, so just sum it up with something that you want to leave the audience
Absolutely.
with.
So again, please go. We're going to have the link for you. StopCampusHate.org/UTLA. 5 seconds of your time will leave a 500% impact, as 8 immediate letters will be generated into the inbox. Let's annoy the hell out of these union members. Number 1.
Thank you so much for that.
And then number 2, I have my own show, America's Voices, where I go underneath the headlines every week with a group of Americans across the political spectrum. We talk about current events, but what's really underneath, what the human conversation is. It's a lot of fun. You're welcome to be on that show too. And if you are ready to up level in love and life and to attract the partner of your dreams, to start making real steps towards your dream career, reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook, Daniela Bloom, or my website, danielabloom.com.
Thank you. And we'll post that with this show.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the audience. This is TLA Radio, Politically Incorrect. Dalia Urman. I had Daniela Bloom here today. Thank you, and have a great afternoon, everyone.